accepted where I got my badge in 2003. And I have to admit, because people never believe me when I say this. Like, they're like, come on, man, you're corrupt. And it's like, no, it's actually, people do. People genuinely believe that policing is as corrupt, if not more corrupt, than basically the bad old days. Too many movies, and just people, conspiracy theorists to the extreme. They always look for the worst. But the culture at training was very anti-corruption. So I remember, a lot of my questions during my interviews were about corruption, for example, and I can clearly remember this. So one of my questions were, if you're at a pub, so this is literally the question that was asked, interviewed before I joined the AFP, 2002. Okay, so Albert, you've joined the police force, you've made it as a police officer, you've been in for 6 months, you do a raid one day, search warrant, everything's legal, it's on a drug dealer, some items are seized, everything's great. It's on a Friday, comes the Friday and the sergeant goes, boys, let's go to the pub. We'll have celebratory drinks. Cool. So you go have your celebratory drinks and the sergeant goes and does a round of drinks, round of beers for everyone, pulls out an envelope and goes, oh, mate, that's this round's on the crook. And he pulls out like $100 note, basically implicating that he's stolen that money off the crook. What do you do? Right. And, of course, you sort of think, I don't know. The right answer, and the answer I gave was, look, to be quite honest, I wouldn't confront my sergeant at the time. It'd be too much. I wouldn't know what to do. But I would then find someone else higher up and talk to them and say, look, this, which is, it ended up being the correct answer. They're not idiots. They don't expect you to be this false bravado. Oh, sergeant, that's, completely illegal and I refuse to, that's bullcrap. And if that's your answer, that's just a bullshit answer. Like, they know that you're just trying to falsely it's a false virtue signaling. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's virtue signaling. It's not an honest answer. The honest answer would be, I'd freak out. I'd probably drink the beer, whisper to my mates, what the hell is going on? And then okay, I need to do something about it. And then next possible moment, try to message or talk to a supervisor above my sergeant, go, look, this happened. What do I do? Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's really what I do. So the police force has been really anti-corruption.
All right, let's put you in that real scenario. Wouldn't you be known as a snitch, and wouldn't you probably not be happy in your job? And
it's changed. Look, the whole thing of snitching amongst police was real in the 80s. Like, it was really real. So I've spoken to sergeants about it, and they're like, yep, that was exactly how it was. So it was totally true that if you were in that scenario in the 80s, early 90s, in a vice squad, fraud squad, whatever, you would have been turfed so fast, mate, you wouldn't have the time to scratch your ass.
How about now?
Oh, absolutely not. It wouldn't be a problem. I have no way of proving this.
Would you, on the others, be put up on a pedestal?
By the bosses, absolutely. And there would, and I'll tell you this. I'll tell you absolutely this is true, and I can say this because I've got to be mindful of what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I don't have a right to talk on behalf of the organisation. Right? I'm one guy just talking to you, and this is my perception of my organisation. They have the right to talk about themselves. But your perception
is actually it's.
Look, I think it's honest. Yeah, and look, it's honest. The AFP in particular, I could talk about it. They hate corruption. They want to stamp out corruption completely because the reality is that we don't live in a society which will accept it anymore. My analysis of it is that society, the institutions within society often reflect the greater society, right? So what I mean by that is this. When society, like normal members of the public, sort of grunted, groaned, but kind of accepted that you paid cops off, crooks paid cops off, they generally kept the peace, no murders in the street, rapists didn't get away with rape. Cool. But, if a guy was selling some marijuana and the cops sort of looked the other way and took for $500, the local sergeant's cool, don't worry about it.
Really?
And it would happen, and that was sort of the mentality back in the day. And that's the mentality with police in a lot of third world countries. Like, we're both Egyptian background. That's certainly the mentality that people have about police in Egypt. And the police behave in that way because it's accepted by it.
Demonized.
Yeah. It's cool. That's what you do. But now it's demonized and it's stigmatized. And the absolute vast majority of people, just won't accept it. They just will not accept any reason that a cop will take money and not do his job properly, or let a drug dealer off, or give information to a crook, even if it was for the smallest thing. Like, most people would be aghast if I was, again, at a barbecue situation and I just dropped that, if someone wants, just to know the address of their ex and, $500. But I mean, most people would just go,
you couldn't get away with that,
holy shit. That's what I'm saying.
You couldn't just go on your systems in the morning, look up a name, could you?
Look, of course I can access things because that's my job. My job allows me to access.
But you have to someone.
Because
someone will say, hey, why'd you look this person up, for instance?
I wouldn't say that it's constant. I mean, it's like any organization. Like, if you worked at a bank, right, is your boss going to ask, why did you look up every transaction that you looked up? It would be just too much. Like, the organisation would grind to a halt if managers were required to do that.
Like, say, a person that works as a cashier, or like someone in the office of like Commonwealth Bank, right? Mm. They can just look up any person and know their...
In certain positions, yeah, absolutely they can. But that makes sense. Yeah, but that makes sense.
Power over people.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That makes sense. If I run a bank, for example, and I have a bank manager who provides loans, well, I have to be able to allow that person to look up anyone's account, because literally anyone could walk into that branch and go, I want a loan, and you need the manager to be able to access the account. You don't want them to go, all right, thanks for coming.
As a bank, though, I'd want everyone to be accountable. Oh,
absolutely. And they all
everyone to have a reference to that person came in.
But all those systems are logged. Or electronic. I mean, that's just standard. It's standard in police forces. It's standard in all governmental institutions. It's standard in the vast majority of private institutions. Mm. I mean, I reckon like a local accountant has, software inbuilt to create logs to say, well, which one of my workers looked up this client's file. And that's standard.
But are people held accountable, though?
In the police force?
Yeah.
I think for the most part, yes. I think
so if you
I would suggest
have this guy that you met and you're like, I'm curious about his personal life. What can you do?
So I could look up a lot.
Would you though? Because
me personally, no, I don't want to.
Okay,
and I'll tell you why. But I'll tell you why.
Would the average person be held accountable for looking things up?
I think every police officer would. I think though
they would be held.
They would be held. Now the question is, well, what does accountable mean? What is accountable? Is accountable fired? Is accountable that? I've never worked in the professional standards area, like the internal affairs equivalent. So I can't tell you, look, I've worked in it and everyo's held to absolute account. Do they have like a
next level type investigation?
Absolutely.
More clearance in you guys?
Absolutely. But I will say this, when I've heard of really bad stuff happening, like people taking money to provide information, or people accessing things and providing it to other people, they have been fired. And I've actually been quite impressed, to be quite honest. Like where I thought, nah, they'll just get a, slap on the back of their head and like, Johnson, don't do that. You're an idiot. No, they really do get fired. And again, my perspective is that it's all about consequences. So, you asked me before if someone, and it's happened many a times, and it happens to all cops. Like you're in the police force more than like a few months. You're going to have, and you know what it is? It's not like some nefarious organized criminal head finds out that you're a cop and comes up to you, but I'm going to make you offer, you can't refuse. It's none of that bullshit. You know what it is? It's like some idiot friend of a friend who's like, oh, you're a copper. Man, I'm trying to find this person. Can you just take this phone number and give me a name and an address?
And you feel obligated.
There might be cultural pressures to feel obligated. No one offers you money, funnily enough. No one's actually ever offered me money to look up things. It's almost like, come on, man, be a mate. Like, look this up, look that up. Yeah, of course. And you just go, I can't, and then you report it. And people sort of say,
interest in anyone's life to look them up.
But again, look at the consequences. Okay, I'm in a government job where basically I have to. The only way I'm going to get fired is if I commit a criminal act or I fuck up so bad. Right? I'm quite lucky. I'm very privileged to have the job that I have. All right. So it's a job that affords me a great absolutely, man. And it provides me a great amount of variety. It provides me an ability to have a stable income in a job that has a decent social standing. Like, you tell someone I work for the federal police, and that's nice. And that's, I appreciate that. That's a privilege that I have. Why would I throw all of that away to impress a mate that I can give him a name or an address?
So many people.
Or $500. Or people sort of say, well, how much would you give? Or how much would it take for you to do it? And I said, mate, unless you're offering me several $1 billion, all right, in a non-extraditable, country and basically zero chance of being caught, maybe I'll think about it. And I have to know what information you want, and I have to know what you're going to do with that information. So I don't care, like, for example, what you would offer me. I'm not going to give you information if it's going to get someone killed, or if it's going to get someone hurt, or if it's going to get someone to lose their job for a reason.
Most people just want to see what their ex is up to.
They want to see what their ex is up to, and that's why I just laugh. And But that's why I'm saying that the corruption issue really isn't as bad.
And that must ruin any relationship. Some guy comes to ask you for some information.
You know what, man? Most people are really understandable.
You can't sustain a relationship.
No, but most people are understandable. Most people just, oh yeah, man, I was joking with you, and they sort of, that was really stupid. And you can tell, but look, and the good thing is that's what you want from your police force. That's exactly the environment you want them to be in, because you don't want there to be systemic corruption, even if it's of a low kind. Like, even if it's of a kind that doesn't, allow crime to continue. Yeah. Because most people can agree, I don't want cops to be corrupt and allow criminals to get away with criminality. What about the sort of corruption where you look up names or addresses for friends? You know what I mean? Like, a mate sold a car and the guy hasn't paid fully the rest of the car, and you get the guy's address for him, and all he's going to do is but people don't want that, and that's a good thing. We want society to have that attitude about the police, and we want to have the police to have that attitude about themselves. So it's a good thing.
And how long has this culture been going on for?
Because honestly, ever since. So I've been, I started training in 2002. And ever since then. And I would say it was there before that, because when I was being interviewed, that was very much part and parcel of the type of temperament they wanted. For them, that was important. That you had that moral standing, that you had that attitude that, it's not okay. And I was probably too young to truly grasp the Royal Commission. Like it happened in 94, 95. I'm like 16, 17. So I'm still a teenager. It's probably gone all over my head. When I look back at it, it was a massive turning point in law enforcement in the country. Just absolutely massive. Like, it rocked government and law enforcement. Like, it was unbelievable.
My reference to, 80s, early 90s police is, underbelly.
Yeah, but to a degree, there's a truth element to it. There were whole areas, 5, 6, 7 detectives that were totally corrupt in all these different little departments. So that was real. And they would, there was the Roger Rogersons that would get people killed and would kill people, cops on duty killing people.
And it seems like a lot of people that have been corrupted have been getting caught in earlier years. Like that tax guy.
Which one? Oh. The one that was just happening recently?
Dude, he embezzled, the people that are in charge of the ATO.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about Operation Elbrus. That was an operation where it was the son of the deputy of the ATO.
But he knew.
He knew about it because his son told him about it. So he wasn't part and parcel, but
But as soon as he knows, implicated.
He should have said something. Yeah,
but exactly. I feel that for him, it's too late. It's between ratting his son out and
but now he's destroyed his life. So he's got.
But it's between that and ratting his son out.
Well, try to think. Try to think from a utilitarian perspective right now. You could have either ratted your son out, and the worst that would have happened is your son got caught in it. Or you're in the situation that you're in now. Well, hold on. Or you're in the situation where you're in now, where your son did further badness and has been caught in that badness, and is currently before the courts in relation to that badness, and you've lost your job.
Could you explain how crazy this situation is to people? Because you've got this tax office, right?
Yeah.
And you've got this guy heading the tax office.
Well, he's a deputy, yeah.
He's up there, right?
Yeah.
And